Welcome to the AI Brief from the YPO Technology Network. I'm Stephen Forte. Today, Sierra raised $950 million at a $15.8 billion valuation. Customer service is the first enterprise workflow with a billion-dollar AI receipt attached. And the pricing model underneath the headline is the part your CFO should be reading twice. Here is what was confirmed this week. Sierra, the customer service AI agent company founded by Brett Taylor and Clay Bavor, closed a $950 million round at a $15.8 billion post-money valuation. The round was led by Tiger Global and GV, Google's venture capital arm, with Benchmark, Sequoia, Green Oaks, and others participating. 8 months ago, Sierra was valued at $10 billion. The reason for the step up is not a keynote demo, it is revenue. Sierra hit $100 million in annual recurring revenue in November, 7 quarters after launch. By early February, it had crossed $150 million. Its customers include Prudential, Cigna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Rocket Mortgage, SoFi, Ramp, Discord, Rivian, Sonos, and Wayfair. CNBC reported that Sierra now serves roughly 1/3 of the world's largest banks and more than 40% of the Fortune 50. That is not a chatbot experiment in the innovation lab. That is the Fortune 50 letting an AI agent talk to customers. Brett Taylor's framing was disciplined. He described Sierra as digitizing the last analog channel, the telephone line, no hold music, multilingual by default, available all day. Benchmark's Peter Fenton called the growth speed astonishing and added a warning aimed directly at slower industries. A cautious approach to AI may be a path to obsolescence. That sentence will not make every operator comfortable. It is still probably correct. Here is my read. Sierra is not interesting because it raised nearly $1 billion. Late-stage AI rounds are becoming wallpaper at this point. Sierra is interesting because it picked the largest, most measurable, most universally disliked workflow in the enterprise, the roughly $400 billion spent every year on customer service, and produced an ARR curve that suggests the unit economics may actually work at scale. The product runs a single agent across phone, IVR, chat, WhatsApp, email, and more than 34 languages. It authenticates customers, processes returns, helps with insurance claims, supports mortgage origination, and handles edge cases that used to require a queue, a headset, and a human being apologizing for the wait. Sierra also prices on outcomes, resolved cases, rather than seats. That is the part your CFO should underline, because the old software model sold access. The new agent model sells completed work. That change is bigger than customer service. If a vendor can charge you for resolved cases instead of licensed users, every other vendor in your stack will eventually face the same question. Why am I paying for seats if the value is work completed? Why am I paying for minutes if the value is cases resolved? Why am I paying for software that measures activity when the agent is offering to take responsibility for the outcome? This is where the contact center becomes more than a cost line. It becomes the training ground for your front office. The agent that answers the phone learns your products. It learns your refund exceptions. It learns which customers churn after the third bad experience, which warranty claims are legitimate, which billing questions signal confusion, and which complaints deserve escalation before they become LinkedIn posts written in all caps. If the same agent can later support scheduling, sales qualification, collections, claims intake, and retention, then customer service is not the destination. It is the wedge. If I were sitting in your seat this quarter, I'd do 3 things. First, I'd ask the CFO to model a 30 to 60% reduction in per contact cost in the 2027 plan, and then make the team defend why that range is too aggressive. Not because Sierra guarantees that range, because the market is now repricing the assumption and budgets age badly when the assumption rots underneath them. Second, the next time you renew anything in the contact center stack, telephony, CCAS, BPO, quality assurance, workforce management, I'd put outcome-based pricing in the RFP. Do not accept only per seat, per minute, or per agent pricing without asking for the alternative. The vendors who cannot quote against outcomes are telling you how they expect to be paid while the market changes around them. Third, I'd separate the calls that define your brand from the calls that merely consume payroll. Not every interaction should be automated. Regulated industries still have compliance, edge cases, and human judgment. But if your best people are resetting passwords, checking order status, and reading refund policies from the same knowledge base an agent can read, that is not customer intimacy. That is expensive nostalgia. A few honest caveats. A $15.8 billion valuation on roughly $150 million of ARR is an enormous multiple. ARR is not profit. Outcome-based pricing depends on model costs, integration discipline, and the messy reality of enterprise operations. And yes, we have all sat through chatbot hype cycles before. The difference this time is the customer list and the revenue velocity. The buyers most allergic to risk are not waiting. The contact center stopped being just a cost center this week. It became a competitive surface. Treat it like one. That is the YPO Tech Network AI brief for Thursday, May 7th. I am Stephen Forte. If this was useful, send it to a fellow member. I will be back Friday with more. Until then, stay sharp.